Hey everyone, quite an interesting video this, and I need to credit one of you. Denise, you put forward this this video topic and I thought it was a really interesting one, and the topic is how much is too much to spend on a bag, the price increases that have happened this year, and also what do I think about what's going to happen with Brexit when that kicks in after the 31st of December this year. So how much is too much, and at what point do you think I'm not going to spend that money, because although it's an item that I might really like, it's just at a point where it's beyond what's reasonable. One brand in particular that I've been a bit disappointed in this year, just because I always have liked the brand, but I feel that they've got to a point that's ridiculous, in my opinion, is Chanel. This year, loads of brands, they have price increases every year, but this year in particular, Chanel's prices have got really, really high, and I always show this diagram because this graph really shows what I'm talking about. I have got to a point now, genuinely, where I think that not all, but a lot of the classic bags from Chanel are at a point where I would think twice, 3 times, 4 times about spending the money on them before I actually do. So a lot of these bags now are in excess of £4,000, £5,000. I actually saw a bag on the website several months ago, and it looked quite plain really. It was just a fabric bag, and it did have embroidery on it, but it was £8,000, and I think it was either a small or a mini size classic fabric, kind of satiny looking. And I do think that we've reached a point where the quality, in my opinion, doesn't stack up to the prices, but also I don't feel that they are yet at a point where they're exclusive enough to command those prices. So to kind of give you an idea about what I think, if you take Hermes, for example, their bags are expensive, and because of the way that they decide, the kind of customer that's going to have it, because they're high in demand, because there's not many out there, they can command that higher price. And also because there's not many out there, secondhand, they still command that higher price. With Chanel, I feel at the moment, before the price rises in particular, they've almost become a bit fast fashion with their bags. If you want something, it's pretty much always available. And that's handy if you really want that item. But I feel that what's happened is, because there's this abundance of products out there and they're easy to come by, the price doesn't kind of stack up, because I feel that exclusivity isn't there. Do you know what I mean? They're quite a how to describe it? They're quite a, I want to say, common bag brand. If you're just looking at bags, even if you take, let's say, Instagram, for example, or YouTube, they're out there a lot. They're not like Hermes, where they're harder to come by, and there's that kind of prestige around it, and you got the allocation, and that's really amazing. So I think that for me, those 2 reasons, to do with the fact that everyone's got one and the quality isn't amazing, to me means that to spend over £4,000 or £5,000 or £6,000 doesn't feel right. If I compare it also to Dior, now Dior are another brand where their bags, in the luxury community, their bags are quite commonplace. Lady Dior or anything like that. And I think the reason for that as well, again, is 2 things. I think it's their price point. The price of those bags, up until some of the recent price hikes, the price of some of those bags have been in around the top end of 2,000, which, if you compare it to Chanel, feels really cheap. How ridiculous is that 2,000 would feel like that? But if you compare it to a £4,000 or £5,000 bag, it just feels, more palatable. The medium size is now, I think, about £3,500, and it was £3,300 for most of last year. I need to interject here. This is crazy
since I last looked, I thought, oh, I'm just going to actually have a check at how much these things are. The Ultramat range, that bag, the medium size, I think I paid about 3,300, and when I looked last, I think it was 3,500. It's now 3,800, and I've also shown here the non-Ultramat range because that tends to be a bit cheaper. But these bags, what is happening to the prices?
But still, if you compare that price to the size of bag, to the fact that it's a classic to Chanel, I think you kind of get more bag for your money. And it does depend on the brands that you like, what your personal preference is. You might be like, yeah, I know what you mean, but I just don't like Dior, and I get it. I do feel that compared to Chanel, that Dior's quality, it is better. So do I think that there is a price limit to what I would spend on a bag? For me, the price limit is beyond 4,000, to be honest. And I wouldn't even want to go that high with it, even though a lot of the brands now are going in that direction. They're kind of edging more and more to that kind of price. That's not to say that I don't want to come on here and say I'd never spend that and you'll never see me spend that, because I don't know. I might one day see something that really plays on my mind and I really love it and I decide to bite the bullet on it. And I did buy the classic flap back in 2016 that was 4,500, which is, you know, even back then I was like, that's really stupid money. I think that bag is now well over £5,000. But yeah, I think for me, upwards of 4,000 feels too much. In fact, I would say probably upwards of 3,800 feels too much. I know a lot of you have said that you think Chanel are doing this because they're trying to get that exclusivity and they're trying to price people out. But I think that a better way of gaining back that exclusivity is to make fewer bags. Fine, put the prices up, but do it in combination with improving quality and making fewer items. And I feel that that would be a better way of increasing exclusivity. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know. I mean, I even did a video back in October where I spoke about the brands, the designer brands that are burning and destroying stock that doesn't get sold. I feel that a better thing to do would be to produce less, so then you have less wastage. And also, as I say, it increases that exclusivity. But then I do also think that some brands are getting to, it's almost like a luxury fast fashion where it's kind of, do you want exclusivity or do you want that bottom line, the finances, to look good in the books? By always having loads of stock in and by always having something that people can, is available to buy. So that's my thoughts on that. Now I want to talk about Brexit, because I've had a lot of you asking me about this as well. Do I think things are going to go up in price? 100%, and I think pretty much everything that you can think of that you would buy, food, through to your cars, through to everything, it's all going to go up in price.
Hello, me again. I just wanted to come on and really quickly mention that I've not researched into really granular detail the information to do with tariffs. There seems to be, at the moment, it feels like there's a lot of guesswork, and that there are rumours that the tariffs could be between 8 and 12% on fashion goods, but also domestic brands. As you can see here, duties are sort of between 6 and 12% when things are leaving the UK. On top of that, there's also this thing which I think is actually happening, and it's the abolition of UK tax-free shopping, which is a really big thing for tourism. So there's a whole load of things going on, and I think it's absolutely going to make this stuff more expensive. And what I'm going to talk to you about is really just my thoughts. I'm going to link below to some great articles if you want further reading.
The amount that it's going to go up in price by, no one knows, you know, what the percentage is going to be. I do know for cars, you know, back a few months ago, I looked at changing my car, and that's now, I was meant to have that in November, but it's been delayed due to COVID. They don't have any parts and stuff like that. Now, back in October, the dealerships were saying you can order a car, but if it turns up after the 31st of December, there's likely to be a 10% additional tax added to it, And some dealers were making you sign a form to say, if that happens, you're liable to pay that 10%. We won't pay it. Once your order is in process, if you decide you don't want to pay the 10%, you're not going to get your deposit back. And I knew at the time, I thought, there's already a lot of tax on cars, and I'm not going to pay an extra 10%. That's kind of crazy. And it just so happens that because the car was meant to be here in November, then it got pushed to December, then it's been pushed to January, and I think it's going to go into February. Because that was kind of out of my control, the dealership have said, we'll cover the additional tax, which is great. But that's cars. I actually saw the other day, I was watching the news, and at the moment there's loads of predictions going on about how much things are going to increase by, and they're calculating it based on where the suppliers are based and the cost of the item at the moment, etc., and the availability of it. And they were saying that cheddar cheese could go up by 46%. Cheddar cheese, like, that's crazy. I thought we made our own. So do I think the bags are going to go up and the designer stuff? Yes. And it could go up enough to further that conversation about how much is too much. It could go up enough to make more bags be in that £4,000 category. And at the moment, when I've asked at the boutiques, those that work there don't know. I mean, no one knows for sure exactly what it's going to be. And I think that that's going to do two things. First of all, it might potentially push more people who are thinking this. If there's stuff they want, it might push them to buy that stuff before Brexit. Because up until this point, London has been one of the cheapest places globally to go and buy this stuff. That's going to change, I think. The second thing is, I think that this is going to push the second-hand vintage market by driving more sales to it from those who want to make a saving, but also from those that are thinking more, you know, I'd rather have a Chanel bag from the 80s or 90s where they used the 24 karat gold plating and the quality was better. But also I think for those selling, the profits will be better, because let's say that you bought a bag and then you go and sell it, and then the prices have jumped up even more. In addition to the price rises, they've jumped up even more because of additional tariffs. I think the amount of profit you might be able to make on what you paid for a bag is going to increase. I would be really interested to see what happens to the Lady Diors, because pre-loved, I've noticed that for the most part, the medium-sized Lady Diors don't fetch the money second-hand that they cost when you buy them new. The mini size and the small, they seem to come up less on pre-loved websites. And I've only ever bought off Vestaire Collective, so I can only talk about that. But I've noticed that those two bags do seem to hold their own quite a lot better. It's kind of almost like the smaller the bag, the more expensive it is. But I would be interested to see if prices go up, what that does mean for those larger size Dior bags. Does it mean that they start reaching actually what they cost at the moment, £3,500? Because when I see them, they do go for under that. And I would actually say, for any of you thinking about the medium-sized Dior, unless you want it in a new style finish, like the Ultra Matte, I have noticed that that's an exception. The new styles do seem to hold their money. Unless you want it in something like that, if you're not really fussed, definitely have a look at pre-loved, because you can make quite a good saving on there. In summary, what do I think you should do? In summary, I think that this is something that I would personally do if there was something that I really wanted. If there has been a bag or a jacket or a wallet or a pair of shoes, whatever, if there has been something that you've had your eye on and you've put it off, you've put it off, you've put it off, and if you're in the UK, now probably is the time to buy it before potential price rises come in, because you're not only going to have the additional tariffs, but the brands are still going to be putting up their prices a couple of times a year. Let me know what you think. And actually, if anyone's got any insider info on price rises, the percentage of the price rises, please share them below. I'd be really, really interested to know, and I know a lot of you would as well. So thanks for watching. I look forward to talking to you now in the comments. I think the comments are going to be really good on this.